Alright, should be recording. Can I see the file? I see the file. It's just Ghost 3. He was originally provided by Square Enix. Sorry, who's that? They were the publisher. That was for the base game.
Fascinating. Require assistance with research. Come see me at Cove.
I'm gonna start with this. With cleaning stuff out first. I'm pretty sure I did purchase. I can look back and check. I just haven't. But I am pretty sure I did purchase the DLC myself. Which, I mean, I really enjoy the game, so it's not like that would have been a problem. This is why it's a nice gun.
Dispatch. Target is still at large. Find him.
I just want to check. I'm pretty sure they... I know I unlocked them. Did I? Okay, I did enable them.
All units, find the rebel. Pursue aggressively.
Yep, right there.
What's the matter, guys?
Reports of hostiles in the area. All units respond.
Got it. Alright, it's so nice. Being able to do these so quickly. Anyway, CES was this week. And that was really the bulk of the news. It's why both last week and this week, I think I've gotten a total of like 2 press releases. One of them wasn't for a PC game, so I didn't cover. And the other one, it's like I can't do a long enough write-up on just one. And and all the CES stuff I covered on its own. So I will get to that. But first, one thing that I think it makes sense to separate it.
Loudest from hypnotic.
Wow, he is loud in your ears.
Controlled by the West is nothing more than
There we
a
go.
ballot box paid for by national security interests. Like all government structures, it masks the systems of stability from the general populace. I do not hide the truth from my nation.
I don't feel like obliterating town with the thing. You know, I can obliterate him. Though it doesn't seem to work nearly as well. Does that actually make sense?
You know what they say about
So, various people have been doing analysis, and AMD has in fact confirmed that the issue of the overheating, the issue of the hotspot temperature in the 7900 XTX GPUs, only the ones actually made by AMD. If you see the story and refers to MBA, that's made by AMD. What happened was it apparently did not get all of the there's a vapor chamber that connects the GPU die to the hello, goodbye, that connects the GPU to the heatsink. A vapor chamber connects them. So I intentionally repeated myself there because I wasn't sure how much I said before I got distracted.
We've lost him.
And what appears to have happened, and it's one of those, it is a mistake. It looks like it should not have happened, but it wasn't a bad design, it wasn't a faulty design, but apparently in manufacturing, it kind of wasn't getting enough of the liquid coolant in there. which might be water, it might not be. This way. This one. So vapor chambers are basically just big old heat pipes. And the way they work, both, is you have a surface that gets really hot and a liquid. The liquid is, and typically, like, the pressure is reduced or something so that the liquid will boil, turn into a vapor chamber. It then will go to a cooler side of the vapor chamber or heat pipe, and the result from that is it moves the heat over. So this is very efficient, and also because of how it works with liquid and gas, it is supposed to be functional independent of orientation. Not quite the case, as people were reporting that apparently when you don't have enough, you do have it not being able... Can I get up here? Perfect. That's when it's not able to properly cool, so it's overheating. Now exactly how that happened, I don't know. But it's just, that is going to be one of those, unfortunately, something that can happen when manufacturing. Just whatever the machine was, I was supposed to insert the fluid for, before the vapor chamber was sealed. Obviously was just not putting in enough for some. This didn't influence all, so it would have been just a specific batch, and AMD has promised that they will take care of everyone. But they did. It is also only the made by AMD one. So those who got AIB designs should not be affected. Alright. Presumably those companies would have been using their own vapor chambers, so it you know, wouldn't happen. Well, if it happened to them, it's coincidental. But it is if they were selling a reference design, which some companies do, that's still made by AMD. It's just like warranty services by them. Alright. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have what's her name talking about.
Day
that up.
1341. I saw disgraced ex-General DeLuca fishing off the pier. What a pitiful sight. The man wastes the precious oxygen of this earth. But I owe it to him to find one more use for his life. That agency man I met might be the key. I need only set the wheels in motion.
Okay. So now turning to... I'll turn to the CES stuff soon.
To the forces of General Di Ravello. The rebellion Enrico had done it again. Vive la revolución.
Okay. So I'll go Intel, NVIDIA, then AMD, which is also, I think, the order of them being interesting. Intel did announce several things. The mobile 13th gen for one. Mobile 13th gen processors. They also did announce low power versions of the 13th gen desktop CPU. Wait, that didn't go boom? It did not go boom. There we go. That one. Hacking out.
Come in.
Oh yeah, that too.
Anybody left out there?
But yeah, 35 and 65 watt SKUs of the desktop CPUs. I think what saw. Yeah, those are the desktop SKUs. Also, I think I remember seeing this, but now we actually, well, that was going to happen. Now I actually know some more of the details there. The Pentium and Celeron brands are being sunsetted, retired. That I think we had known, but now we know it is the N series is what Intel's calling it, the new low power CPU offerings they will have. Yep. Man, I mean, Celeron, yeah.
Someone report.
Losing that, it doesn't seem quite so big a deal, but man, Pentium going away is... Maybe I'm just old. It's like, I remember Pentium 2, Pentium 3, mainly Pentium 3, and Pentium 4. Pentium 3 was a big deal. That just hasn't figured out to fall yet. Or it actually somehow was still in the air.
Ready for action.
Level boats are set. Right, Rico. Why don't you make them feel at home?
The NVIDIA announcements include the 4070 Ti, which has actually already gone on sale. That was January 5th. At $800. I'm not sure what more I need to do that. One issue with using this is it does need access to the sky, which I'm sure is very intentional. So that it's not just the absolute best weapon, period. There. So the 4070 Ti is in fact the RTX 4080 12 gig that had been unlaunched. So it is exactly what people would have expected, what some people expected and predicted back then. NVIDIA was just going to rebrand, which, to be fair, why wouldn't they? The main complaint people had was that it should not have been that name. So going to that makes sense. 4070 Ti makes sense. Because it does make clearer that, yeah, it's inferior to the 4080. Which is why it should never have been called the 4080. I mean, but besides changing the name, they did something else that is interesting. they've also dropped the price. When it was the 4080 12 gig, it was going to be $900. Instead, it is, as a 47 Ti, $800, $799, which is interesting. I'm hoping that them cutting the price is because they have seen that there's a lot of people not happy with the current pricing of GPU, which does make sense. I mean, the 4080 at $1,200 is really gross when you consider how 48, what was the 1080 at 600? Even then, a lot of people would argue was actually inappropriate. That I remember seeing something, it was a while ago, that basically the when you look at what the die size is for the 1080, it should have been, for what Pascal was designed to offer as it grew in size, it should have actually been like the 60 class. At least that's what I remember one commentary on it being. It's like, NVIDIA does GA, GP, whatever, 102, 104 and such. It was something like the 1080 was actually the 02 or the 04, which is typically the 60 class, not the 80 class. That was the point. Which is also part of the reason why the 1080 Ti was so awesome, because it was basically the fuller GPU. But in any case, yeah, 4770 Ti, that much. A lot of people still don't like the pricing, but at least it is a little bit better. And who knows, maybe it is a herald of things to come for both companies bringing things under control. Now, to be fair to both companies, the price of manufacturing this stuff has not come down. Not completely. We are working with more complex technologies, so more complex manufacturing technologies, so it's going to be expensive, but it is also, I think somebody did make the point that they had the $100 in the margin when it was a 4080. And it has not been long enough that it's like, oh yeah, it could always have been, well, it's only now it would be that much cheaper. No, they could have had it be that cheap when they originally announced it. That margin was, that I definitely think is a fair criticism. I mean, hey, both, they are in the business to make money. It is just unfortunate that they are deciding to set GPU pricing where they have been setting. Because, well, I mean, I think it's fair to say NVIDIA is the one realizing that, hey, we can, set whatever price we want, they'll still sell, and AMD is probably just being like, well, now we're competitive, so we can start matching what they're setting and make that extra money.
Piece of...
No. Where's that? Might be there. I don't see anyone else that could.
Cake.
NVIDIA also announced the RTX 40 series mobile GPUs, which... yeah, I mean, the whole, hey, we've, renamed the 4070 Ti, the 4080 1280 to 4070 Ti because we don't want to have that kind of confusion.
About the effects of the Porto Cavo base on the erosion of the beautiful Medici coastline, our compassionate leader decided to get rid of the base entirely. Another day, another base, it seems. Hooray for progress in a state of absolutely nothing being amiss. Viva Medici!
There we go. And that'll clear the region. Yeah, all of the 40 series mobile GPUs are just identified as like the RTX 4090. It has, almost no relation to the desktop level 4090. I don't think I can attack, but maybe I can't. And no, I don't think so, because that's, I'm pretty sure, what the shield is to apply.
Here he comes, the king of the rebels.
Yeah, so there's an RTX 4090 for laptops. It's just only named the RTX 4090. It's not the same GPU. It's not going to offer the same level of performance as the desktop 4090, but that's what they... Yeah. Right, now looking at the AMD stuff, ooh, boy, they announced quite a bit. I think they actually did even say that that I think one of the things I saw, they did say that, yeah, this is, for CES, the most products they've ever announced at one time.
This is dispatch. Did we get him? What's going on? Report. Rebel activity reported. Get to the following coordinates immediately.
Right.
This is dispatch.
They announced mobile series CPUs. They announced one mobile series GPU. Well, although in the news, in the press release, it was actually 4 in total they announced. But what they actually showed, because I was able to watch that video, watch the live stream. I didn't watch, I will acknowledge I did not watch the Intel or NVIDIA. I did not have time. Also, it was one of those, when this week started, I basically wasn't even aware that CS was happening.
Target has left the
Just,
area.
the whole things blending together kind of stuff.
There appears to be a service outage.
This is dispatch. Request received. Reinforcements en route. We've lost visual contact. All units, fan out and search.
Yep. Yeah, importantly, they announced 2 different... So they had the mobile
Stay down.
7000 series CPU, which some of them are based on actually Zen 3 still instead of Zen 4. But there are 2 that are 2 portions of the series, the 7040 and 7045, that are based on Zen 4. That's what the 4 means. But these are very different. The 7045 actually kind of looks like it is the desktop CPUs, just put, lowered power limit and put into laptops. I mean, even is using chiplets and offers up to 16 cores, 32 threads. Very, very much like. Gonna get another one in there. Right? Me. That's the 7045. More powerful. It is also, though, only using the RDNA 2 cores that you do find in desktop 7000s. Yeah, I actually want to go. And then I'll come.
Another free town.
There we go. And it's only the 2 RDNA 2 cores, I think. It sounds right, there's only 2. So those almost certainly have to be paired with a discrete GPU, which they announced.
Resistance
Let me actually look at
continues.
this.
Viñaleta is no longer occupied by
I think I have it in my notes. Maybe I don't.
Every town that is freed gives more strength
Nope,
to
I
our
did forget.
cause and more hope to the people.
Did fail to put it in there. But I think it's the
And begin to stand our ancestors
7600 MXT? Yes, I'm pretty sure that is it. But they did also announce in the press releases a 7700S and 7600S, and there was also a I don't remember all of them, but there were a total of 4. The S variants are lower power. With the S variants specifically mentioned, like they'll draw 100 watts or less, whereas the XT variants can draw more. So I don't know which, but you'd probably see one or the other paired with the 7045 CPUs. The, I think, more interesting mobile CPU announcement, though, was the 7040 series, which these are like the actually Zen 4 made for mobile CPUs. They are monolithic. At least they did show an image, and showed being monolithic. They referred to the 745 as being chiplet. But what's neat here is they have up to 12 RDNA 3 GPU cores in there.
Tuno is no longer a press, my friends. If you haven't visited recently, now is the time to support your newly freed brothers and sisters.
Huh. I'm kind of glad I spotted this. I did.
Hostile contact. All units converge on these coordinates. ASAP.
Easy.
Sending additional reinforcements to your location.
Yep.
Sending additional ground forces to your location immediately. Understood. We are providing additional manpower at your location.
Alright.
This is dispatch.
Sorry.
Target
But yeah.
still at large. Find
In
it.
addition to having the 12 RDNA 3 cores in there, they also have 4
Group support inbound.
AI engine. It will have built-in AI acceleration capability. I think it's up to 4 engines in there. So like 4 will be on the die. It's how many are actually counting. This is my interpretation.
One town at a time.
There we go. Made it.
All right, Vigo Spigola is free. Now, my friends, I won't judge you if you try to keep a chunk of the Di Ravello statue to sell on the internet someday. We all need it.
One thing about the 7040 series that I saw is apparently some of the marketing slides that they used at CES were incorrect. I don't remember if I used any of the stats that turned out being wrong, or any of the specs. But apparently they had said that in one location, at least, that there were, it has 32 meg of L3. No, it's apparently only 16. I did see they were correct stuff there. But yeah, so it's got the 4 AI engines in there, Ryzen AI they are calling it, that can, do all kinds of things. Conveniently, they were talking about how it will, what they are capable of doing does mean that it will reduce CPU load and GPU load, so it's, is actually an accelerator in that sense.
Come on.
Oh, that's not good. Hang on. It won't let me stop. Come on, get up. Get up. What the heck is hitting? That's gone. I hear a helicopter, but I don't see. Ah, there it is. Alright. These things, these satellite dishes are really hard to destroy. There we go. One thing I found interesting and potentially a little worrying, when they were talking about the mobile CPUs and the Ryzen AI stuff, was they brought up somebody from Microsoft, because AMD is partnering with Microsoft, as would be Intel. I mean, that they're going to partner with a lot of people. But the guy was talking about that, AI is going to become a significant part of how you use Windows in the future. I'm not sure how much I like that idea. I'm just like, oh no, what are they gonna try to do? Because they've not been making all the best choices with Windows 11 and such design. Even Windows 10 had its issues. A lot of them got worked out. There we go. Windows 8 though, remember that? So yeah, I don't... The moment the guy was talking about it, I was like, ooh, I'm not looking forward to this necessarily.
Backup is almost there. Can you clear the
There we go. Alright, there's at least some. There. I really don't know where the rest goes next. Wow, it really just did not want to climb up. I missed time. There we go.
Take out that base commander, Rico. He can't be allowed to survive.
I don't know where he is. Oh, there he is. Alright, dealt with. Ah! this last? Okay, so that's all the way over there. This should all be around here. Hang on, I want to check my notes for the other stuff. Okay, mainly just two more. So they did finally announce the 3D V-Cache desktop CPU variant, which I know a lot of people have been looking forward to. And it does include the 7800X 3D, so that would be the successor to the 5800X 3D. But it is... that is not all that they announced. You know what?
Let's blow something up.
I'll take this. Alright. Oh, okay. But yeah, so this time it is not just the one 8-core CPU with the 3D V-Cache. They also announced the 7900X 3D and the 7950X 3D. So, where are we at? Oh, okay. Looks like one will be over here. That might be the last. Maybe not. Where the hell is some of these that are shooting at me?
One less blood.
Alright. Where's this last one? Oh, it's over there. Yep, I see. Okay.
Just put this right here.
This all again. Perfect. That is not armed. We gotta do it this way. Wrong way. I have no idea where that rocket guy is. Oh, there he is. Okay, now. There. Some weird things about the 7900 and 7950 X X 3D. So yes, they do have the 3D V-Cache there, but it's only on one die. Now, this actually does make some sense. But it does also make you wonder a little bit, will we see a... So I think the last province... Yeah, it's this. But we're gonna... Yeah, that. That's the thing Demon says. Anyway, so yeah, only one of the compute dies will have the extra cache. And how this kind of makes sense is that means that the other die won't have that extra thermal load, won't have that extra thermal limitation.
Hello, citizens of Med...
Okay, I'm just...
Espia Alta's demolition occurred as scheduled. There's no point in being surprised about it. The plans have been on display at your local DRM station for weeks. Good work, members of the Department of Infrastructure Improvement. Oh, you're on a roll. Viva Medici.
If I can attack, sure. I see you there. So yeah, it should allow that other die to run a little bit better. Including, because the maximum boost clocks have not changed from the just traditional X versions of the CPU. Which might be because the other die is simply going to be the one achieving those. Okay, that's so that's a little tricky, but at the same time, though, that might actually, provide a best of both worlds situation, rather solution. That I could see that being more what somebody wants. That being a better answer. Some people are really worried, though. I've seen some concerns, at least, about it resulting in the like Windows being really confused. And I don't know. Because as I saw one person pointing out in some comments, Windows already has abilities to know for its scheduler certain aspects of the CPU. So this might not have to be a very different thing for them. By the way, there's also the theory, for why they did this, is that the could be latency related. If you have the cache in one die trying to get to the cache of the other. It's hard to say that would already be a thing. I could believe it's more about enabling the ability to have it be mixed. I think that is actually intentional there, so that it can potentially put I guess that won't work. So that you can have a high frequency core, you can have high cache core, and work with it that way. That does seem reasonable to me. Hello. Goodbye. They also have lower TDP, which is kind of curious. At least the 7900X3D and 7950X3D both have lower TDP at 120 instead of the 170 of what's currently available. I'm not entirely sure why that is, because I could see that actually being for more than one reason. One being that it is just part of how they are pulling back on the thermals, because the extra compute stuff the extra memory on top of the compute dies is going to, reduce the wiggle room you got for the temperature. And we already know that with the 1500X3D, it does run hot. Come on. Although that does remind me of one thing. I think I saw something that manual overclocking for them will be disabled, but Precision Boost Overdrive and Curve Optimizer were both the... I'm pretty sure I did see both those mentioned in the press release as being enabled for them. So that is good. That is... that's definitely a good thing, because it's like there's some people that swear by with 1500X3D using... There's a hack, more or less, to get... there we go. To get the Curve Optimizer to work with the 1500X3D, even though it's not enabled in BIOS. Apparently, it can be there's a way to get it applied in Windows, which also have MSI does have a feature in the BIOS that you can turn on, and I'm guessing it produces a similar result. Well, it has a similar behavior, because it kind of gave me a similar result for 1500X3D I put into the test system. There. Let me hit these as well.
Don't tell me what I got.
So the fact that it will be enabled that both of those technologies will be enabled, will be accessible, is a good thing. It's a good thing. Because that is can be one way to get much better control over the thermal. Now the last thing I want to talk about is not at all a consumer part, but it's also a very exciting part that AMD announced. That is, no, it's not a consumer part, but at some point, I'm certain it will influence consumer. Alright. I'm sorry, there are no shotguns that would be effective at this rate. Just... That's not happening. I'm not being staggered by that. Anyway. There we go. So, AMD also announced the MI, so it is an Instinct, I don't think it's no, it's just AMD Instinct MI300, which is a exceedingly interesting device. It is a database targeting accelerator, but here's what's so neat about it. So like the MI250X, I think how they were describing it, it is the current top-of-the-line accelerator of that series from AMD at the moment. Yep. It is using the AMD's CDNA architecture, which is a compute-focused GPU, essentially. That's why it's CDNA as opposed to RDNA. So as opposed to being Radeon, it's... Right. There we go. It's compute. Here's the thing that's really, really neat about it.
Sweet distraction.
that it has more than just CDNA cores on it. It also has Zen 4 CPU core. Specifically, it has, would that thing please stop firing? It has 24 Zen 4 cores. And apparently they didn't specify which is which, so I think we can figure it out. It is 9... Actually, hang on, I will look, because I did put this in my... I just need to spot. 9 5nm chiplets stacked on 4 6nm chiplets. Pretty sure the 5nm would be the Zen 4 cores, so they said 9 and 24 cores. I'm not entirely sure how that would line up. And 4 6nm chips. Isn't the Zen 4 and 5? Maybe I have that backwards. Maybe it's the GPU cores are gonna... Well, yeah. The GPU cores are the 5nm, and Zen 4 is going to be the 6nm. So they are actually stacking. What they described was stacking GPU and CPU compute chiplets on each other. And then, to further make this thing just exceedingly powerful, it has 128 gig of HBM3 around it. Like, all on the same package, but around the other dies.
Hello there, citizens of Medici. There was a fuel leak somewhere near Corda Dracon, so they've torn the whole thing down for safety's sake. You could ask, is there no end to this very carefully and thoughtfully controlled demolition? Well, you shall see. Viva Medici!
Yep. So, yeah. How long have I been going? Yeah, I'll do this mission. I don't mind this going to an hour. I've had a busy week, too, and today was quite busy as well, so I'm having fun. I'm relaxing all day. But yeah, so they have actually done that thing that's... I don't know if it's necessarily since the concept of chiplets and such was really out, and it's like we saw that, oh, maybe sort of this could be possible, that people have been wanting this. But it's like, it's been cheap. CPU chiplets and GPU chiplets, all high-performance ones, on a single package, stacked together. Not just, connected, but stacked, they said. They did say, I'm pretty sure Lisa Sue, well, I know stacked was used. I'm just trying to remember, was it her that said it? When she held it up and, boy, that sucker's big. I mean, you know how big Threadripper is? Like, the Threadripper chip, the whole thing, the CPU that I installed into my motherboard years ago, it's about the size of like a credit card. It looked like just the silicon portion, like the actual dies, was totaled to that size. That's how big that thing was. The MI300. But still, they managed to, it looks like, actually achieve this where it's all in that one package. That one thing is probably more powerful than my desktop. To be an idea. It certainly has more memory. More cores, because it's 24 cores. I don't know about the CDNA. Well, the CDNA stuff may not have a video out. But still, that's amazing. They said it was 8 times more powerful than the 2050X, what it's succeeding, and 5 times more efficient. Well, up twos, but yeah.
I want my grandmatre.
How's Mario doing?
Oh, he's fine.
Rico, kill me,
He
please.
is just a big baby.
Yep.
But a cute one.
Oh, Rico. Very interesting.
What's Zeno doing here?
Oh, adequate IQ. Said he worked for Bavarian Weaponizing before the fact. Diagnostics fascinating. Bavarium infused directly into armor plating. Renders immune to traditional ballistics, explosions, fire.
Okay, so... Invincible tanks. What's the good
I
news?
still don't know how to disable the shielding.
How is that good news?
Well, we do know many parts of this tank are manufactured at nearby refinery.
Okay, Dima, let's check it out.
Oh, too dangerous. Tio can hack those systems.
Oh, no. Tio is gonna fix this tank and then we are selling it.
Having both disease and kill worthwhile.
Oh, you're thinking of developing a new weapon.
That's Settles it. The three of us in a smash and grab job.
Okay. We'll create a distraction. You take out the reinforcements, and then together we'll hit the refinery.
Sounds like a plan.
Don't touch that.
Have fun, you lunatic.
I forgot that Mario was here and injured. It's been a while. Yeah, I cannot speculate when we might see that mixed stacking like that. And now, to be fair,
when you get there, you'll find a little toy we left for you. We're gonna cause a subtle distraction. You just need to take out the militaries that respond. Got it?
to be fair, Intel has also done some of this, some similar kind of combination.
Pal Sheldon, what's going on? You seem to be making a lot of people nervous.
Do you know anything about Di Ravello's fancy tanks, Sheldon?
I reckon I do, old top. Where do you think they come from? Your friendly neighborhood agency, of course. The Black Hand paid a mighty penny for them.
And what is the Black Hand?
A mercenary group working for Di Ravello. Big fellas, spooky voices, Bavarium shielded tanks, you know the drill. You see, the Black Hand have struck a deal with Di Ravello. They get some of the Bavarium, take two. It's a tangled web we do weave, amigo.
It is. Yeah, I'm going somewhere. More or less safe. Intel, how they are connecting their dies, their chiplets. It's not stacking yet. I think it's still horizontal connection. So the stacking here is still a specialty. And I don't remember if they've announced a product that is actually CPU and GPU dies together quite like what AMD was described.
How's it coming?
I'm here.
We're approaching. Distraction should draw them out right about now.
I hope I don't actually need this very long. Using my... That'll work.
Right on cue. Time to see what you got, Rico. Take them out.
Back up here. That might have been it. Nope. I do kind of wonder with the whole they are working with. They said it's in their labs. It will be launching in the second quarter of this year, and they intend to have it.
That marks, Rico. You passed. Now head to the overlook of the refinery. You can be our eye in the sky.
They intend to have it sampled to select partners.
Extract beryllium from other rocks and metals. The result is a purer form of beryllium that's easier to weaponize, though slightly less stable.
Are there a lot of these refineries?
A handful. We know the beryllium used to make our capture tank came from this specific refinery. By analyzing the makeup of the few contaminated minerals, singling out traces of various minerals and comparing it to a geological map of Medici.
Yeah.
Thanks, Theo.
Crap, I know what I was wanting to get to, I just don't remember what exact thoughts were forgetting.
Hey, not everyone can fly, okay?
But, I do wonder what we might see first applying it that will be a consumer technology.
Let's have a little fun.
Like, will we see...
I can see the smug look on your face from here.
What smug look?
Get over yourself, Rodriguez.
Like, would we see it hit... Well, it would probably hit Epic first. But might you see that stacking applied for, like a mobile CPU, GPU? Because in theory, it would be a way to have a much more circuitry in the same space.
Hurry up!
Anakin, I'm in this. Damn it! Another firewall!
Such that, you know, if it's vertically stacked, you're taking vertical space, and yes, laptops are limited, but it's also chips are very small, actually.
You're impressed, but we're not gonna last long here.
So it's like there would be some potential to do that, and you might be able to have a larger GPU there. There are thermal constraints, but they gotta solve that anyway. They have to figure that out regardless.
Don't care.
Both for things like the MI300, but also just the 3D V-cache stuff. They have to be working on that.
This encryption is way more finished. Let's go!
New plan. There's a chopper in the hangar. Get to it. I'll cover it.
Pushing forward, Rico. Cover us! Alright, let's move forward.
Here we go.
Cover us, Rico.
Rico, cover us!
Breaking cover. Get our backs, Rico. Moving up, Rico. Cover us.
They would be in trouble if these guys figured out, were somehow aware that they could just stay under something and I wouldn't be able to hit them. There. There's also just the possibility of doing more of the, well, not necessarily as Vcache, but if they could put HBM on there, well, a high capacity, it would still be, HBM would still be slower than the, is it SRAM that they are using for L3? Not sure, but
Latch on.
there we go.
Okay, get us out of here, too.
Rico, cover us!
That is the plan. Now, true, they do have the HBM surrounding, but, and I know people have talked about, you know, imagine having a Threadripper or an Epic where you had 16, 32, 64 gig of HBM on the package as well.
Take them out!
You say that like I've never done this.
Get those guys, Rico!
No? I mean, definitely would be interesting to have local memory like that. That would be high speed, that would be right next to it, so it would have benefits for latency, benefits for bandwidth potentially. But there would also be power benefits. I mean, like I said, the MI300 is potentially more powerful than my desktops right now. I mean, imagine that, applying that in other ways.
Not bad, Rico.
that is one big chip, but it's still, there's so much potential. And Intel, AMD, it doesn't really matter which one is achieving it. The fact that it is being done, one is going to do it, the other's going to follow. It's going to be quite a revolution, potentially, in performance. And would also be one of those ways to defeat Moore's law, as people say it. The idea of the stacking like that has actually been
Stay out of trouble.
provided, has been put forward as a way to solve the it's getting harder and harder to make smaller and smaller transistors. That's been suggested for a long time. Yeah. Alright. Just look. It seems... Oh, I got this one as well. Okay, and then this. This is to shut down the cannon there. Alright. But, main thing is, I'm going to be able to do all... You know, get these collectibles, challenges. I'm going to be having a good time when I do the...
Information from refinery to construct prototype device.
You know, she's going to say it all over. Yeah, so this is part 13, so 13.1. I'm going to have plenty I can do. Yay! I like having this to... It's why I do the point ones. I really enjoy the game, so I like giving myself an excuse to play it more. Well, more than just, you know, once a week. I'm just trying to think. Oh, one thing I will mention. I did put in the AMD CES write-up that I did. The 4 Ryzen AI engines in the 7040 series mobile CPU. Oh, and also for context, they were saying that it would be able to do, what was it, 400 trillion operations per second, AI operations per second, they were claiming it could do up to. But that it can do that at milliwatts of power, which would be far less and far faster. Far less power and far faster than if CPU and GPU would. But they also did announce an AI accelerator card, the Alveo, I think it was. I don't remember the like designation for it, like V70 something. They did explicitly state it's the same, and it's XDNA. That's what they're calling the stuff, including what is actually in the 7040 is they are XDNA cores. That this Alveo is a scaled up version of those same cores. 75 watts of power that it will use in this accelerator card. Now, that is meant for data centers and such, but still is interesting how they do, in fact, have this XDNA design that does scale that well from mobile CPU all the way up to a discrete accelerator card. And also, they were talking about so much of this stuff, and they had a whole thing about adaptive computing that lasted for quite a while, is all thanks to their acquisition of Xilinx. Xilinx? I'm not sure which way is necessarily correct for pronouncing that. But that's the company that basically pioneered, I want to say, the FPGA, field programmable gate array. So it's actually, yes, it is a manufactured processor, but you can actually rewire it after the fact. So you can apply new things to it. That's part of why it's adaptive computing. But Xilinx it's like they were achieving a lot of really awesome and amazing things. That's why the reason AMD purchased them, was to get access to that portfolio and start integrating exactly like we're seeing here with the 7040, the Alveo. Probably I wouldn't be surprised if some of that is in the MI300, because that is it's an Instinct card. It's meant for doing machine learning training. So yeah, it is going to be very interesting to see what comes from AMD in the future. It will also be interesting to see what Intel does, because Intel has to respond to all this stuff in one way or another, and they have the money, they have the expertise. So anything that the money is, anything they're lacking in, they can get. And the expertise is they already have a lot. So it will be interesting to see how Intel responds also. I don't know about NVIDIA. NVIDIA's got certain advantages in this field, though, mainly that they have, by one means or another, with gotten CUDA to be such a standard for GPU compute stuff, general purpose graphics processing unit compute, that they probably don't need to necessarily focus as much on specialized AI stuff, but they certainly will, because this is the multi-billion, multi-trillion-dollar business going forward. So I'm saying it's the reason why Intel got into doing the GPUs with the XE stuff. I'm saying I don't remember if they ever actually said it, but it's like that's why they did it, because the hugely parallel processing, single instruction, multi-data stuff of a GPU makes it better for for some of the training, at least a lot of training methods, not all, but makes it a lot better for that. They wanted a product that they could sell to data centers for doing that, to compete with AMD, compete with NVIDIA, because that's a billion. No, that's not single billions. That would be tens of billions, hundreds of billions dollar market. Intel wants a piece of it. That's why they're getting into the GPU. And they also want to make the consumer GPU because that's how consumers will think of them first. And then it's like, oh yeah, I have the Intel GPU. Well, let's get it, for the supercomputer we're building too, because I use it at home. Or vice versa. Hey, we're using this in our supercomputer. Or Intel marketing. Hey, it's using the supercomputer. Have it in your computer. I mean, that is all part of why that is happening there. So yes, Intel is going to try to respond to AMD's AI stuff. I don't know how. I don't remember what they have in their portfolio for that. But NVIDIA is going to be doing the same. NVIDIA just has that advantage. CUDA. And by the way, the Tensor Core stuff, no. I'm not equating that in there, because Tensor Cores are going to be probably a lot more restricted in what they're useful for. These AI cores are very likely more general. They have more capabilities than just tensor math. Tensor math is used for a lot of stuff, but there's also a lot of stuff that doesn't use it. So the very specialized tensor stuff there is not as versatile as NVIDIA wants you to. It's still good, but it's. I'll be honest. That's all, and I will stop after this. I'll stop talking after this. It is a pet peeve of mine, how NVIDIA's Tensor Core stuff convinced a lot of people that Tensor Cores are how you do AI. It's like, no, that is not the case. That is one way of doing it. There are many other ways that would never benefit from Tensor Core. The type of math is completely different, and you couldn't just translate it over. It just so annoys me that there's some people that think, oh, the only way you can do AI, you have to have Tensor Cores. Like a hypothetical FSR 3 that might be machine learning enhanced. And that, oh, well, AMD has to do a Tensor Core design. It's like, no, they don't. They could do something else. And also, a reality is, this is all just trained models. At DLSS, it's just a trained model. It's not actually doing any machine learning at the time. It's just applying a model that was trained. So it's applying the result of machine learning that was done elsewhere. Now, the Tensor Cores allow it in some cases to perform better, but it's also, what was it, DLSS 1.6? Was that the name given to it? It was actually run on shader cores. It wasn't run on Tensor Cores, and it worked fine. So, I mean, yeah, Tensor Cores, they are impressive. But there's a lot more to machine learning than tensor math. I don't doubt AMD is taking advantage of that. Intel likely will as well, and eventually NVIDIA will too. I mean, if they wouldn't be unaware of it. So it will be interesting to see how these developments go. I mean, it's a good time. It is just a good time because there's so much innovation, so much cause for innovation, and as far as the technology goes, competition. As far as the pricing goes, not so well. Not so much. Hopefully that'll change. Alright. I said I'd stop, and I meant it. See you next.